Week three, moving along in this semester. I hope you're enjoying the content so far, that you're getting into a good groove with watching videos and reading material, and hopefully the Zoom sessions are helpful as well. This week, we are going to we're going to actually continue with a little bit of biomechanics overview, and then we're also going to start diving into some kinetic analysis a bit deeper. So let me share my assignment 3. So this is still a biomechanics overview, and you're going to practice some kinetic analyses. Remember, you've already had biomechanics, undergrad biomechanics, whether that was here with me or with someone else or at another university. So you're doing the Watch Me First video. Then we've got 3 videos. I have 3 videos for you to watch that are sort of building on what we did in week 2. Week 2, I gave you the big overview of undergrad biomechanics. This week, I'm diving in a little bit more on each one. So you'll see a lot of times I do this repetitive, iterative type of teaching where I go over material 2 or 3 different times. The idea is that is hopefully helping you pick up on the material as you go along, and you start to see some of the common threads and the different explanations I provide. So we'll do structure review, do some kinematics, and some kinetics. And as you hear this over and over again, hopefully F equals ma pops in your head, acceleration equals delta v over delta t, and units of meters per second squared. All that sort of comes to you naturally. I do dive into Newton's laws a bit more, and I go into doing a kinetic analysis. And a kinetic analysis is where we're trying to identify forces acting on an object and ultimately understand how those forces are causing movement or something else. And so I have those presentations I want you to go through. And then I have 2 immersion videos for you. One is user software. There's a lot of neat, sophisticated programs that athletes have access to now as they train. Maybe they have a smartwatch of some sort, and that watch uploads information to a platform, and that information can actually be pretty detailed in the world of biomechanics. It can be stride frequency for running, it could be power for cycling, or different pace metrics or different stroke metrics for swimming. And there's a wide variety of user software out there for athletes and coaches, as well as researchers. And I go through some of them in this presentation. I'd like to at least expose you to some of the more common ones that people are using, as it may be something that you ultimately are talking with someone outside of class or outside the university about training for an event, and they may be using Strava or Training Peaks. I want you to be familiar with those types of programs. This is a presentation Ted Jard and I did where we go into Training Peaks software platform a bit deeper. It's a very sophisticated program. There's a free version and there is a paid version. As you're exploring, if you want to get the free version, perfect. Don't pay for anything. Down the road, I know coaches or people who work with athletes, they use Training Peaks, and there is a paid version for coaches to interact with their athletes electronically. So it's a neat way to work with athletes. Then on the second page, there's a hidden second page here. What I want you to do is practice your kinetic analysis with some different situations. So here I have a situation where the box is floating in the water. Hopefully that is a pretty good Pictionary type of illustration here. And what I ask is, what forces are acting on the box? And V is direction of motion. Oh, I don't have a V in this first one because it's not moving. Here I've got a V and the box is moving through the water. So this is no movement, it's just floating there. This is moving through the water. And then this is another box moving from left to right on the screen. And now I use this type of drawing to represent the ground. So it's not the water, it's the ground. So this is on the surface. And then I've got a box being moved uphill on an incline, and this is a classic physics problem. So all I want you to do is identify forces acting on the object, not by the object, but on the object. And if you can draw them and include that in your upload, that's great. I know it's not always easy to add some drawings onto a Word doc like this. So if you can't do it, you can't do it. But maybe just let me know that you did try to do the kinetic analysis. And then later on, I'll have some information about actually setting up those kinetic analyses. Okay, so that's the assignment. Let me stop that share. And then for your semester project, let me open that up. Now what we're doing is building on last week, and I want you to find one research paper that is related to one question, okay? So of the three that you were exploring, hopefully at this point you can pick one. Don't feel it's set in stone. You may go down this path with one question, maybe another week, maybe a second week, and then you say, maybe this isn't the question you want to answer. That's fine, we can switch. At some point, I will actually ask you not to switch a question, but that would be later in the semester. I know interests change, and I know as you start finding information for a particular question, your interest may change and you may want to ask a different question. Perfectly fine. For the purpose of this project, I want you to pick one question at this point. Give a quick, brief explanation why this question is of interest to you. That helps me understand why you're picking it. And then include one citation from one research paper. Now, I want you to start looking for primary source peer-reviewed information. So this is coming from Index Medicus or some type of search engine that's going to give you peer-reviewed papers only, not websites, not podcasts, nothing anecdotal, not textbooks even. And I want this to be a research primary source paper. The primary source is a paper that the authors describe an experiment that they conducted, okay? If you see the word literature or words literature review in the title of the paper, that's not a primary source. You're going to identify a primary source. Sometimes the easiest way is to go to the methods section and look to see if they have a subject section where they describe the subjects. Then they would have a section where they describe an experiment that the subjects participated in. But first and foremost, look and see if they have subjects in the study. If there's no subject section, it's most likely a literature review or some type of secondary source. All right, so we're looking for primary sources. If you would, use APA format. This is the easiest way for me to check the reference. I can see it. I can probably find it real quickly. APA format, if you just Google APA format, it's a very simple way to list the authors in a paper. You list the year it was published, the title, and then the journal and some page information. Very simple way to list that out. And then I can see it and I can ultimately look up the reference. And I've actually found some interesting papers this way for myself to read. As you read the paper, what I want you to do is identify any biomechanical terms, no more than 5, okay? Maybe 2 or 3 would be perfect, that you can find maybe in the title of the paper, or maybe in the abstract of the paper, maybe even in the body of the paper if you've gone so far, read all the way through it. And just write them down. Maybe you'll see the word force, or you'll see acceleration, or moment of inertia. You may see these terms in the paper. Perfect, just write them down. That's all you're doing right now. And what I'm interested in doing is trying to train your eye to look for the biomechanics that are in a paper or maybe in conversations and so forth. So this is just a way to train our eye and our ear for biomechanical terms that we're actually covering. You don't need to define them here. You just need to list them. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. If you do 2 terms, that's perfect. If you do 5 terms, that's great. You don't need to go more than that. I'm not looking for an exhaustive list, nor am I going to the paper to look and see if that term is actually there. All right, this is, you trying to identify terms and include them. And again, no right or wrong here. We're just trying to build this project throughout the semester. Okay, that's it for week 3. I hope you enjoy the modules. Check in the Zoom rooms and have a good week. Thank you.